What's up, witches? Oh my gosh. So excited. What is up, witches? Oh my goodness. I am so excited for this right now. This is a very special moment for so many reasons. First of all, happy Friday, happy Venus Day, happy full moon. So wonderful when the high tea actually falls on the new moon day. It's a really nice vibe. Okay. But that is not the only reason why we have to celebrate. Hold on, everybody. Are we clear? I feel like we're schmutzy. Yeah, there were schmutz, right? All right. So another thing that we have to be really excited about is the coven has a new home on Discord. Welcome, Discord witches. So first of all, um, if you don't know what this is, I am Allie Kravitz, aka BronxWitch. This is my channel. Welcome back. And this is High Tea Live. This is my monthly full moon Q&A session. I go live with my coven witches. We talk about a magical topic and I answer your questions. So this is a great way to basically get witchy office hours if you have questions. In order to prevent us from having the same questions every single live, I usually have a topic or some type of a craft that we're working on so we can kind of keep the conversation centered around one topic. So there are plenty of high tea lives for you to binge. If you're looking for a particular topic, just go through the high tea live playlist and you will see a whole bunch of videos on different topics. This high tea live is super, super special. First of all, it's my first high tea live in my pagan new year. Many of you know I celebrate the new year on Samhain. That's the end of the year for me energetically. And I start fresh November 1st. So this is my first high tea. But it's also super, super special because the coven witches that are tuning in are coming into the room from our new home on Discord. So, witches, for those of you who have been rocking with me for years now, this channel started in 2019, 5 years. Okay. I just want to take a moment to thank all of you in case I don't do that enough. I want to tell you how incredibly grateful I am to each and every one of you for rocking with me as hard as you have over the years. We have now officially moved the coven from YouTube, where it started, to Facebook groups, to Thinkific, and now to Discord. And some of you have moved every single time right along with me. And I just want to thank you all so much for being so patient, for being so flexible, and for really finding value in me enough that you have decided to bounce around to these different platforms and, get used to a different way of doing things every time that I have moved. I want to thank you guys so much for that. I also want to tell you how deeply committed I am to Discord, okay? And how I can essentially guarantee that we will not be moving anymore. It took a while for us to find a platform that was user-friendly, but that gave us all of the different features that allow us to do exclusive lives with you and post things, but also that allows you guys to post and talk to each other. And Discord is that place. It took me a while to realize that, as I'm not necessarily always hip on the latest technology. And funny enough, I first got started on Discord like years ago because I was the moderator for the Modern Witches book club. So if you guys know Devin Hunter and Modern Witch Official and their yearly award ceremony and conference called the Witches Sabbath, I participated in the first or second one, and they decided to have a book club after and asked me to be the moderator. So I was actually all up on Discord. And then when the book club ended, I didn't really do it anymore. And I forgot about it. And shout out to the Staycation Witches, all the witches who came on the Staycation retreat, our second annual. It was freaking phenomenal. And in talking with the witches on the staycation, I realized that our Thinkific platform just wasn't user friendly enough. It doesn't have its own app and all of that stuff that really flows well. And you guys, the staycation witches, recommended Discord. I didn't realize so many people were on it. And so it was really wonderful. If you are a Discord girly, then you're going to be very happy about that because you already know the platform. If you're not familiar with Discord, do not worry. It is super, super easy to use. If you have used literally any other social media app in your life, including this one, you will figure it out. It's so simple. It's just words. It's just threads. It's just conversations. And then there's an area for us to post our links to stuff. That's about it. What's up, Takara? I see Takara's in the stream room. So again, thank you all so much for bouncing around to all these different platforms. Discord is our final and permanent home for the Coven community. So what does that mean? If you are not in the Coven community, then you are going to want to join us. And I dropped a link and pinned it to the top of the chat if you're over on YouTube, or you can go into the description of this video and you will see a link to take you right there to join the Coven. The Coven has 2 different membership tiers, okay, to make it easy for everybody. Both membership tiers give you access to Discord. Once you become a member at either level, you're going to see instructions in your student dashboard for how to join us on Discord. We have a community server on Discord, but it is not open to the public. Okay, so you're only going to be able to find that information if you become a Coven member on our online portal and then follow the instructions to navigate over there. And you still have time. The whole process will take you like 5 minutes. Okay. So if you want to get into the Discord room right now, then definitely head over, become a Coven member real quick, and pop up into the stream room. Why would you want to be in the stream room? Before I talk about that, let me tell you what else you get as a Coven member. 2 tiers of membership in the Coven. The first tier is the outer court. If you're familiar with Wiccan covens, then you are familiar with this terminology. But somebody in the outer court is somebody that just wants to get the lay of the land and get to know people before they make any serious commitments. Outer court coven membership gives you access to the Discord, but it also gives you access for free to all of our digital downloads inside of the online portal. And we have a bunch of digital downloads and many, many more scheduled to come out in 2025. We have PDFs, ebooks, and guides on things like tarot, chakra healing, building an altar, crystal healing, etc. Okay, so that's the outer court. You get access to the Discord server, and you also get digital downloads in the online portal completely for free. They're automatically in your dashboard when you become a member. The other member of Coven membership is the dedicant level. A dedicant is someone who is like, yeah, I'm serious. I want to stick around for this. This is my tribe. This is where I want to be. Dedicant level Coven members get access to the Discord server, free use of all of our downloadable digital materials, but also free access to all of our webinars. So if I or Alexis or one of our guest instructors teaches a webinar that is a paid webinar, you automatically get it for free. And of course, obviously, you also automatically get all of the free webinars, and they will just automatically be in your student dashboard. If you've never been to the BronxWitch HQ online portal, that is our learning portal. The Coven is basically the cafeteria on campus. And in the online portal, we have dozens of classes and webinars and downloadable materials on just about every topic you might want to learn about: divination, making altars, meditation, crystal healing, etc. Many of the classes are taught by me. Some of them are taught by our online portal administrator, Alexis, and some of them are taught by guest instructors who we bring in who have expertise on certain topics. So online portal is an amazing place for witches that are serious about getting a great education in the areas of the craft, and the Coven is where we hang out. You get access to the Coven with both membership levels. Make sense? Are we in accordance? Does that make sense? Are we following? Yes. let me know while I sip my tea before it gets cold, because I always wait too long and then it gets cold. Mary says, I love Discord and its interface. Me too. I had forgotten all about it. And now that I'm back on it, I'm like, oh, this is so much more fun. And we made custom stickers. Shout out to Alexis and her graphic design background, because Alexis made us, she took the BronxWitch logo and made some custom stickers for us. So definitely make sure to use the stickers in the thread. Okay, that makes sense. Awesome. All right. Now, the other reason why you want to join the coven and why you might want to go ahead and do that right now is because I am going back to my roots. For those of you who have been here since 2019, you might remember that this channel got started with me doing tarot readings. It was during COVID. Times were hard. What's up, Alexis? Times were hard. Okay. And we really needed community, and we really needed to still be able to connect with each other. And so I was live here every week for a year and a half, every week, for live collective tarot readings. And then as life got, back to normal, so they say, that moved to live readings on the new moons and the full moons. And then I opened up HQ, the only co-working space for witches in all of New York City, which, as you can imagine, is quite an undertaking. Did that all on my own. And we are now 3 years in. Whoop, 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 whoop. And that endeavor has taken me in a lot of different directions and has changed the level of time and attention that I could spend with this channel. But please do not get it twisted. The witching never stops. And so I have now taken 4 semesters. I'm on my 4th semester of witches through my 6-month coaching program, the BetterWitch Magic Intensive. That is a couple dozen witches that I have taught through my coaching program and classes in a very intimate, like one-on-one way. I have hosted 2 retreats. I have now taken 2 groups of witches out to the woods for 3 days and 2 nights to do rituals and hike and connect with nature. And I have gotten to assist literally thousands of witches in these 3 years that have come through the doors of HQ, whether they wanted to buy products, they were looking for a community, they were looking for classes. And so I'm super grateful to this platform for getting all of that started and really pushing me to begin teaching the craft, something that I learned, started learning 25 plus years ago. And now it was time for me to hashtag witches helping witches, start helping the next group of witches that are, newer on their journeys or just looking for companionship, community, etc. And that's been incredible. And I've done my best to keep the YouTube folks aware. So a really big thank you to folks who traveled off of YouTube to come and find me in the places where I was the most active. I really appreciate you guys. And so you might want to go ahead and join the coven and get into the Discord room, because I'm going back to my roots. And we're doing some readings tonight. And of course, in typical spirit fashion, as soon as I say I'm going to do something, they provide me with the tools that I need. So if you are thinking about getting into Discord right now, I encourage you to go ahead and do it. Yes, it's okay. Turn off the video, close out of this browser, go and get into the stream room, because I want to talk about these decks that were sent to me real quick. So that gives you like a good 5 minutes, which is all the time you'll need to go and get into the Discord room, which is going to allow you to get a reading from me tonight. Everybody who is tuning in on YouTube that is not in the Discord room, you can also get a reading from me tonight, and you can do that by leaving a super chat on this video, okay? And I'm pretty sure, let me just double check and make sure you can do that. Yep, you should be able to do that, okay? So if you are on YouTube and you would like a reading, then you can go ahead and leave a super chat, and I will forgive you for not being in the coven and give you a reading anyway. Let you ask a question of any kind. It will be helpful if you put your question in the super chat when you send it, so that your question is right there. But everybody who is in the stream room and is getting there through Discord, because you know I can tell the difference, right? You guys will get readings. Okay. So the 2 decks that Spirit sent me, it's pretty wild and crazy. You guys probably know I talk all the time. I am not a deck collector. I've said that a million times. And yet, if you can see over here, that is that's 2 rows of decks standing up. That's like half of the decks that I have. And the reason why I have so many is because I have been so blessed to do the work that I do, having a shop, having a platform, having witches that are creative and that make decks. I've been gifted decks by people along the way, either to try out or just as a gift. And it just so happened that as I was planning what this month's high tea would be all about, these 2 decks came to me. So the first, I want to give a huge shout out to my client. This is one of my spiritual business coaching clients. Her name is Emily Munoz. If you are big on Facebook, then you may know her because she has been a tarot reader professionally since 2009. Okay. So she's not even like me, jumped up on the scene, during COVID. She has been in these tarot streets, incredibly experienced, teaches Rider-Waite Tarot and Lenormand. She's got like 9,000 followers on Facebook or something like that. She's got a very loyal community of witches around her that have learned from her, that get readings from her. She is booked and busy, honey. Let me tell you, she's giving readings all day long. It's her full-time job. I'm super, super proud of her and really honored to be working with her as one of my coaching clients, helping her to increase her reach, engage with the people that follow her more, and helping her sell the last of her Lenormand decks so that she can move on to her next project with US Games. So shout out to Emily, who was so kind to send me one of the copies, very limited run. I think she's got 40 left and they will not be printed again. Really beautiful box, really beautiful details. From somebody that just obviously really cares. And the package also came with like pins and this gorgeous tarot cloth. Perfectly my colors, right? Royal purple and gold. Hello, big Leo energy. That just happens to be the design of the deck, which is another reason why I knew I had to work with her. Beautiful velvet bag, very nice design. Okay, and the cards are in here. Lenormand cards are more like playing cards than tarot cards, so they tend to be small. Look at this gorgeous foil gilded edges with like heart designs. Absolutely gorgeous, incredible design, watercolor, matte, like just everything I love in a deck. She knocked it out of the park with this one. And the whole purpose of this one, it's called Simplicity Lenormand, in order to help you learn Lenormand. So if learning playing cards, if learning Lenormand style divination is of interest to you, check out Emily. You can find her on Facebook, Emily, Emilie, Munoz, Munye. IZ tarot, and I do believe she has a few decks left, but if I have anything to say about it, that won't last very long. So if this deck appeals to you, check it out. They are also published by US Games, so you should probably be able to find it in most other places too. And of course, you can find it on our bookstore storefront over on HQ's website, BronxWitch.com. So shout out to you, Emily. Thank you so much. We're going to be pulling cards from the Lenormand tonight. And then the other deck that I was gifted with is called Circle of Doors. A totally different vibe, but when I saw this image on the front with the key and the Hecatan figure, I was like, oh yes. The witches of the world know me so well. So this deck is by Anne Staveley and Jill Sutherland, and the guidebook is written by Brian Duffy, okay? Very beautiful. Got this in the mail last week, Friday, so I had a chance to flip through it a little bit. Lovely box. Which door will you go through? We shall see. The cards are beautiful. I'm super happy about both of these decks because the cards are up my alley. Now, these cards are a little on the big side. You guys know my little hands don't love that, but they're very soft. They are not hard. So that makes them easy to shuffle, even though they're large. Another gilded deck, very fancy. New deck smell, gold gilding on the wheels. And then all of the images are these beautiful semi-photographic, semi-painted, black and white figures. And this deck just felt like a really beautiful one to be pulling from at this time of the year, being that so many people, myself included, have been honoring the ancestors, maybe even more I don't know, overtly, intensely, intentionally than normal. It felt very ancestral, and I felt like there were a lot of really beautiful figures. All of the figures are feminine figures, which normally would kind of turn me off, if I can be honest. I'm not a huge fan of decks that just single out like one type of person or one gender because it feels kind of limiting. But these figures are they're very abstract, so it's very different than other decks that have done that. So I was like, ooh, okay, I am going to stick with that. All right. All right, witches. So before we get into the readings, you know, this is high tea. What herbs are we enjoying? Is anyone smoking on any herbs? Are you drinking any herbs? Have you burned some herbs? What are you enjoying? Personally, I am burning my go-to rosemary, but mixed with a little yerba santa. Very ancestral vibe I'm in. And I am drinking some blood clot chai because it is my moon time. How perfect on the full moon, which was my cycle all of 2023. And then 2024, it abruptly changed. And then weirdly, now on this beaver moon, it is going back. And I went to a school called the Brearley School, and the mascot is the beaver. I don't know. I don't know if that means anything. Alexis, you're in the room. Does that mean anything? Alexis knows all about Brearley because she teaches there. One of the many funny synchronicities that Alexis and I have together. But yeah, I got an email. I thought it was so crazy because I got an email from Brearley, the school. My school that I went to high school is a K through 12 all girls school in New York City, and the mascot is the beaver. I don't know who thought that was a good idea, but that's what it is. And I got a email from them talking about it's the beaver moon and it's the beaver full moon and da 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 da. And I was like, the world is really changing. That like my private school that I went to is sending out emails about the full moon, like the moon transit. I know it's the beaver moon, so maybe it's only because of that, but I still thought it was very witchy of an email. Lauren Berg, love that I smelled the deck. That's what I do with books. Yeah, well, you get that new deck smell. You can't help it. Hendrix is smoking on some high quality keef and shake. Congratulations. Most of you know that high tea is not necessarily high tea so much anymore for me because I have significantly reduced how much I smoke cannabis. But I did have some this past weekend and I needed to. It was definitely for medicinal purposes. I really needed to lean into the shift that I am going on, and I needed to be able to rest without guilt and without shame and without overwhelm so that certain messages could come through to me. And I was able to do that. So that was great. But tonight we've just got our blood clot chai, my menstrual cramp relief tea in my big gulp cup. All right. Oh, okay. I didn't know that. Mary said that I have an herb lesson pulled up, and hemlock is also called beaver poison. I was not aware of that. I know that hemlock is toxic. And I guess that makes sense that, like, if the beavers, some things that are toxic to humans are not toxic to animals, but maybe hemlock is toxic to them as well. That's very interesting. The reason why, the email from Brearley said that the reason why this full moon is called the beaver moon is because this is the time of the year where the beavers have completed their dams. They've been working all summer, tirelessly, day in and day out, making like really big, elaborate dams with their internal tunnels and their living quarters. And now that it's getting cold, they'll be retreating into those quarters. The rivers around the dam might even freeze over. So they might actually get frozen inside for months at a time. And that's where they're going to go to hibernate for the winter. So this is the full moon that marks when most beavers are done with their dams for the colder months. And the symbology of that, I think, is really special and very much in alignment. Wow. I didn't even realize that. Very much in alignment with what I'm going through right now. I don't know if any of you also feel like right now is a time to go inward and like hunker down. But that is a really big theme that I'm seeing other people echoing, that I am also feeling. Even my business coach today was talking about how she feels the same way, how she needs to like lessen her amount of coaching because she's got, this big project with a really big company. I don't know if I can say their name. And she's really got to focus. And I actually just started a virtual space for my spiritual entrepreneurs called The Bunker. And this came to me during election night. I decided not to watch any coverage. I made myself a whiskey old fashioned and decided that I wanted to work on my ebook and a webinar that I'm doing at the end of the month for my spiritual entrepreneurs, which is all happening over on Instagram. By the way, if you are a witchpreneur, nothing on YouTube is about spiritual business. Everything on Instagram is about spiritual business. So if you're trying to launch or grow your spiritual business, go check me out over there. But I just started a virtual group called The Bunker. And that thought came to me the day after election night. So that Wednesday, I guess it's the 7th. And I'm sitting at HQ and I'm making content about the election. I'm trying to decide like what I'm going to say to my audience on Instagram and trying to choose my words and also figure out like how I was feeling. And I realized that I was feeling super motivated, really pumped up, and incredibly optimistic, which is probably the opposite of how most people were feeling that morning. Well, most people in like my neck of the woods were feeling that morning. But there was something that was like lit inside of me that I think got started in COVID and didn't necessarily come to its full evolution. And it was a really strong desire to get out of this sickening cycle of like every 4 years having this tug of war back and forth between like, what is my life going to look like? Am I going to be able to do certain things? Am I going to have certain rights? Am I going to be able to afford to live? Like, I'm really sick of that. I'm sick of that back and forth that's being played with like my life, And I got really motivated to put myself in a position where the back and forth of this world, whether it's political or otherwise, just does not affect me. And having a certain level of self-sufficiency allows you that freedom from that back and forth. And my ancestors have been telling me since 2022 to start saving seeds. And I didn't really understand it, but I listened. And I've been saving seeds. And I now have like Ziploc bags full of like 25 different plants, papayas, watermelons, several different types of peppers, cucumbers, tomatoes, apples, oranges. Like if it has seeds, I've been saving it. And I realized that they've been preparing me for this since COVID to become more self sufficient so that I am not at the mercy of any political party. I'm not at the mercy of whatever is going on. And so I got really pumped up and I was like, but to do that though, I have to conserve all of my energy and hyper focus it just on that, on getting to that place. I need to hunker down. I need to go in. And the word that came to me because I was like, I need to hunker down. We all need to hunker down was bunker. Like we need to hunker down in a bunker. We need to go somewhere where it's safe, where it's free of distractions, and get very serious about building whatever it is we're trying to build, whether you're trying to fix your credit or you're trying to plant your own garden of, food you can live off of, or you're trying to move onto a homestead or whatever. We need to spend the next 3 months as the administration shift, focusing not on that shit, but on our own shit and getting ourselves in a position of strength and self-sufficiency so that when we wake up on January 20th, whatever changes. Cleaning up your student loan situation, applying for whatever forgiveness you can get now before that's gone, like just really putting ourselves in as best of a position as we can and building from that throughout 2025. So the beaver message is very much on par. I very much need to connect with the energy of the beaver because that is what I have been doing. 2024, I've been building my little dam, pulling sticks from wherever I could and putting it together and trying to make things right. And had a couple floods, had the dam wash away, had to start all over. But now I'm in a place where I want to go inside of that space and, come back out on the other side happy, healthy, strong, and into a world that I can withstand, regardless of what it looks like. So the beaver is a very appropriate energy for right now because everyone seems to be feeling that way. So if you're into working with animals, channel the beaver energy to help you with going inward while still working, I think is like the message. It's not like the bear that's just like asleep. I think the beavers be doing stuff in there. All winter long. Okay, so let's get into it, witches. Let's get into these readings. So again, if you are just coming into the room, if you are in the stream room, I will be taking your questions and answering them. My thank you to you for being a part of this incredible coven community that has lasted 3 years and withstood so much changes. You still have time to get into the stream room. Just use the link down below to gain access on either level. Either level of coven membership will give you the instructions for how to get into the Discord and to be a part of our community server, which is where you will find the links to all of our Coven exclusive streams, discount codes, and all of that. For those of you that are on YouTube, if you would like a reading as well, you can request one by using the SuperChat feature. I ask that you please put your question with the SuperChat just to keep it all organized. But if you forget, you can drop it in the comments. So I'm going to start with my coven witches so I can see y'all. So if you want to go ahead and put your questions in the chat, you can. And while you all are doing that, I'm going to take a moment to open up the channels with prayer. Just giving honor and thanks to my guides, guardians, angels, ancestors, spirits, to my demons because she was working today. Thank you all for helping me to do this work, for the messages that you bring me, helping me to translate them in ways that make sense, asking for the most high vibrational, guiding, and clear messages for every witch that's in this room tonight. I just felt called to start with a collective message, so I am going to do that. A message for the collective. Collective message for this full moon. This beaver moon. Hello. Mm. So, first of all, everything has been coming up for me in sixes. The number 6 has been incredibly relevant. And interestingly, if you are a coven witch, then you might have tuned into the hey Alex, if that is who I think it is, if you are a coven witch, you're going to want to tune into the StreamYard. If you want a free reading, go into Discord and get in through the stream room. But the number 6 has been really, really significant for me lately. Several of the spirit guides and other energies that I'm connected to vibrate along the frequency of the number 6, including Black Herman. And everything that's been coming up for me as a coach and a teacher has been happening in the amount of sixes and the number sixes. So if you have been following my teaching and my coaching, you'll notice that my BetterWitch Magic Intensive is a 6-month coaching program. My 6 weeks to launch program for my spiritual entrepreneurs is 6 weeks to launch. My business intensive is a 6-month program. Everything has been happening to me in the amount of sixes. And even when Spirit was talking to me about this election, they were telling me to tell everybody that we have 6 weeks. We have 6 weeks. We have 6 weeks to prepare, which basically brings us to the end of the year. So this number 6 has been really significant. So this message for the collective is about the energy of the number 6. And if you want to learn about number energy, we all just finished watching Alexis's Moonlit Metaphysics, which is her full moon chat on topics around energy. And tonight's message was about numerology and like your personal number for the year. So this is really interesting. This number that I need to go watch that again because I want to like now that this message has come up, I want to revisit that. But the number 6 is coming through generally for the collective across the board. And the number 6 for me is a coupling number. I think about the Lovers card and I think about the balance and the evenness of the number and the way it's very judicial. The numerology today, oh shit, look at that. Today, the 15th, it is a 6 day. So today is a 6 day, and Alexis is in a personal 6th year. I feel like collectively we are on this this energy of the number 6. And I don't know if that's going to last us into 2025 or if this is something that we're finishing up, but it very much feels like a very solid, balanced, supported number. And it's so interesting that this is the 6 of keys. It's a door unlocking type of number where I feel like many of us have been, and I use this. Oh, yay, Alex, you got in the right room. Awesome. I feel like I have been saying this quite a bit all year long, where I felt like I was working on different things. And I kept getting these messages that something is coming, that a payoff is coming, that a reward for all the work is coming. But it just kept feeling like it was on the other side of a door. You know, it was just on the other side. I could feel it, I could sense it, I could smell it, I could taste it. But for some reason, I just couldn't actually get it into my hands. It felt like there were things that were still locking the door. And when I went live to talk about the bunker on Instagram, I realized that the thing that was standing in the way was my dependency on this support, dependency on certain government programs, dependency on social projects happening, dependency on having support from other people. Like there was a dependency on others that I had that I needed to let go of in order to fully step into like the abundance and the independence and the freedom that I really wanted. You know, it was like part of me was saying like, oh, I want this independence and I want this freedom, but another part of me was like, but I don't want to let go of these safety nets. And now it's like they're being ripped away. And I have to decide whether or not I'm going to just crash because the safety nets are not there, or if I'm going to swim on my own. And that's really what this feels like, especially with this imagery of the young girl being up in the tree. It very much feels like we are collectively being called on supporting and saving ourselves. I just heard no one is coming to save you. And you have all of the keys that you need to open the door to independence, to freedom, to health, whatever it is that you've been working so hard towards over the last year or so that has felt like it's just out of your reach. You now have all of the keys and they're all in a row. And at this point, we just have to walk through the door and do it, you know? And I feel like we're all that little girl in the tree having to decide if we're going to jump off. And it's time to jump off and realize that we've been preparing for this and we are ready to go through whatever new experience is going to be on the other side of that leap. But we need to no longer rely on the tree underneath us to hold us. It is time to embark on something new all on our own, having faith, because trust is earned and you may not be there yet, but going out on faith that you have all of the keys. Literally, this is what I'm saying to all of my witchpreneurs, that all of us have the keys, we have the gifts to unlocking prosperity, abundance, good health, good fortune, all of the things that we have been working so hard toward. The keys are there. They're in alignment, they're in place, and now it's time to use them. And the message of this card is triumph. And so I feel like Spirit is giving us a message that you are going to be triumphant. Okay. Yes. No one is coming to save you has been the message that has been coming through, not just in this reading right now. I've been seeing it everywhere. Yeah. And it was emotional for me too. Yeah, exactly. Like no one is coming to save you has just been repeating over and over in my head. And it's a horrifying idea, but it's also really exciting because it means that independence and that strength and that self-sufficiently that I have said that I've wanted is actually now really possible. Sometimes you have to have the rug pulled out from under you in order to be the best version of yourself. Sometimes you just can't get there if other people are helping you out. You can't get there if you've got loan forgiveness. You can't get there if somebody's helping with the bills. You can't get there. Sometimes you just can't get there without having to really sink or swim for yourself. And I feel like that's what's happening to us collectively. And ultimately, it's for the greater good. It's scary, it's frustrating, but it's so that we all get to a place of self-sufficiency, which is true freedom. True freedom isn't getting all of these systems to continue to give us stuff. True freedom is to not need them. And that's what's being birthed in us right now. And you want to know something really interesting? I heard this message when I was talking. When I was a kid, I used to get called Bucky Beaver because of my buck teeth. And children are cruel. My cousins and stuff would call me Bucky Beaver, amongst other things. And I just noticed that there's like a kid in the background, like in shadow, and he's got a gap. There goes the beaver. And all these sticks in the water, very beaver energy. Very beaver energy. When we emerge on the other side of the next 6 months from now, like, it's going to be epic. And what's crazy is all of my personal horoscopes have been saying the same thing. All of my personal horoscopes have been saying May of next year, April of next year, the spring of next year is about to be a whole new world from where you were last year at the same time. The number 6 months from now, we've got 6 weeks to get into the bunker. You don't have to join the bunker if you're not an entrepreneur, but 6 weeks to go within. And then 6 months from now, we come out in the spring on the other side, able to fend for ourselves. And this Lenormand message that came up is yes in the reverse, which does not vibrate on the frequency of no for me. Actually, instead, it's making me think of the tree and the fact that more preparation is required, but not a lot. Not a lot. The roots are being put down. The path is open. This is a yes for all of us. And I just noticed how EYS is also in keys. I'm just seeing that here. But there's an unlocking that is happening for us collectively, but it requires an intentional delay of that gratification. It's not time to whittle away our energy, our attention, our money on the little frivolous things that we would usually pay attention to. It's a time to slim down, detach, minimize, and get hyper-focused. Six of Keys. Triumph. Okay. Thank you, Spirit, for that message for this beautiful collective. Now I'll take individual questions. I saw one come in earlier. A reminder to folks watching on YouTube, if you would like your question, however many questions you have, answered from me tonight, then go ahead and join the coven and access this stream room from our new home on Discord, okay? Once you become a coven member, you will automatically have access in your student dashboard to the instructions for how to get onto Discord to access the stream room for this exclusive live stream. If you are tuning in on YouTube and you do not want to move over to the coven, that's okay. Though you're probably going to want to do that because I'm not going to be airing these lives on YouTube. It's just for the coven witches. This is a treat. But if you do not want to go over to the coven, that is okay. You can still get your cards read by dropping a super chat and leaving your question with the super chat note. Okay, and I will get to you. And I am going to start off with Takara in the coven. Takara wants to know, am I biting off more than I can chew work-wise? Okay. is this too much to handle? Well, it's going to pay more. That's for sure. Ace of Shells, prosperity just came flying out. So if your goal is to make more money, whether you're making more money from taking on additional responsibilities, taking on additional hours, or if you're just learning more skills that will put you in a position to get a better job at another time or move up in your position, whatever scenario is relevant to you, this is definitely going to increase your abundance for sure. So if that's your goal, the answer might be yes, it is going to be a lot, but it's going to be worth it. So only you can kind of decide if more prosperity is worth it. Okay, and it's going to be necessary for you to both to gather more education along the way. You are going to have to do a little bit more, like maybe research, looking things up, studying. You might need to talk to people. There's a message coming through here of talking to people. Okay, yeah. And being disciplined. And interestingly, of time. Okay. What else this is about here? Okay. All right. Well, girl, this is going to play out very wonderfully for you. Okay. So, in addition to the prosperity message, we also have the crone of knives here, the scholar. All right. And the first message that came through is that it's going to be important for you to gain knowledge as you take on these responsibilities. So, yes, you are going to be doing things that you may not already have the education for or the knowledge for, and you're going to have to gain that. But you'll be able to do that if you implement some discipline. You've got the whip coming up here too. So minimizing arguments, be prepared for those though, and be really disciplined and making an intention to educate yourself. So you might need to spend time after work or outside of work, reading up on new materials, researching things, learning things that you might have to do outside of your work hours in order to catch up or in order to be able to do what's being asked of you, but you can do it. You might want to look for somebody at your position who has been there for a longer period of time. There's two references to like really old school clocks here. And I feel Spirit's putting my attention on this message because somebody has been at your job for a really long time. Maybe just older and has just been doing this work for a very long time. But if you can overcome their rough around the edges demeanor and their maybe not so pleasant attitude, you could actually really learn a lot from them. So if there's somebody like that in your job, then connect with them. If you're not sure, seek that person out. Know that there is a possibility for there to be some discord, not our cool discord, but not good discord, that there is the opportunity for you guys to butt heads a little bit, but that there is knowledge and wisdom that this person could provide. So take advantage of it and try not to get caught up in like their unpleasant attitude. You know what I mean? Learn what you can from them. They might even be on their way out or on their way to retirement or something like that. And you learning from them could put you in a position to maybe take over for them or something like that. So it would be beneficial for you to learn as much from them as you can and, go on about your way otherwise. But ultimately, we have the sun here, one of the most positive of the cards in the Lenormand deck, the Ace of Diamonds. So that, along with the Ace of Shells, chang, 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 chang goes the money tree. Okay, so this is going to work out really well for you. Yes, it's going to be work. Yes, you'll have to do outside education seeking in order to be able to do the job, but it's going to pay off for you really, really well, my dear. So, I try to avoid the should question because that's not a psychic question. But if you were going to ask me personally what I would do, I would learn as much as I can, buddy up with whoever looks like they're old and decrepit and about to be out of there, learn as much as I could from them and let that pay off for me in the long run. Okay. All right, Takara, thank you for the question, babe. Let me know how that resonated with you, how you felt that. And any other coven witches in the stream room want to get a question asked. Again, if you're watching on YouTube, you also can get a question asked. You'll just need to drop a super chat and leave your question in the super chat note, and I will take your question as well. Do these smell like that too? Not as much, but I've had them for a little bit longer. These are fresh out the box. Oh, this is good. It's good. My very first job ever was working in the library at Brearley. So I've been about this life. Love a book. Love a book. Love a book. All right. Next question. Let's see. Before we move on, let's see what Takara said. Hey, C Blaze. What's up? Awesome. Yes, new doors are opening, and I've pulled the Sun card twice in my personal oracle reading. Girl, if you don't get that money, you got kids. Go get that money, honey. Okay, it's going to be some extra work, but you got this. Okay, find the oldest person at your job, get cozy with them, and then take their place when they tap out. That's what I would do. Happy full moon, Sea Blaze. Welcome, welcome, welcome. If you have any questions for Spirit tonight, you can get your cards read. You are on YouTube, so you will just want to leave a super chat. And if you do not want to do that, if you would like a complimentary reading, then join the coven, love. Hey, Sabrina, happy full moon. Oh, look at all these familiar faces. All right, so let's get to the next question from Alexis. What should I be focusing my energy on right now? Okay. I'm going to slightly modify the question. I always like to be transparent when I do that, only because I don't really ask Spirit the should question, because that's very much a subjective thing and for you to determine. What I will ask them, though, is what area of your life would benefit the most from your energy and attention? If that's okay with you, let me know if that's okay with you to ask it that way. What area of your life would have the most improvement if you put your energy on it? Because that's more of an energy question. What would shift the most if you focus on it right now? Yes, that's okay. Okay, cool. What would shift the most? Don't laugh. I haven't said anything yet. Okay, well, so let's talk about mother. Let's talk about mother. The Mother of Cups is coming up, the poet. She's coming up in the reverse. Paired up with the yes in the reverse, and the card of communication. All right. So the very first thing that came to my attention was this cup, this coffee cup or this teacup here. Two things that are coming through. First of all, a conversation with your mother, communication with your mother. This is the area of your life that could have the most movement, the most shift if you put your energy on it right now. That does not necessarily mean like hearts and stars and fluffy feelings. It just means that right now the time is ripe and right for things to move most significantly if you didn't avoid it and actually just stood and looked at it head on and said what needed to be said. This going inward that we are all feeling, there is a like goodbye moment that needs to happen where you might have to talk to people in your life that can't go into the beaver dam with you. And so some final words or conversations might need to be had. A last hurrah of time spent together over a cup of coffee, over some tea, to say, hey, I've got to focus elsewhere. It's interesting. It's almost like the energy is like, you need to focus your energy here right now, not because this is going to be something we spend a lot of time on, but because we need to tie it up in a way that is going to free you completely, emotionally and otherwise, so that you can go into hibernation over these next few months and not have this thing distracting you. You know, you do not want to be in your beaver dam and have somebody like at the door being like, can you do this? Or I want to talk about this. Do you have a moment to talk about your car's insurance warranty? You know, like, fuck you guys. This is a time to say, like, I am going somewhere physically, mentally, spiritually, financially, energetically, whatever. I'm going in, I'm focusing on me. I'm building myself up into the absolute best version of me. And I am so sorry, or maybe I'm not so sorry, but you can't come. You can't come. You can't be a part of it. And I don't want to hear from you during this time, quite frankly. So we need to have this conversation now. We need to talk about it now because I'm going within and I'm not going to let you interfere with this. I have made other attempts to put myself in this position. I have made other attempts to make this message clear to you. And I haven't, for whatever reason, I haven't really been successful. Either you weren't receptive or I just wasn't able to articulate myself in the way I needed to. But I have leveled up. This poetry message is interesting that this is the poet. You might use a letter, you might use poetry, you might use the spoken word to help you with this, whether you write a letter to your mother or you write down the words of what you want to say first before you sit down to have a conversation. Or whether you draw inspiration from poetry that's out there. Maybe there's written works about relationships that are similar to the ones you have, or maybe there are poems that actually capture the energy of what it is that you're trying to say. Somebody look up if there's like a good beaver poem or something. Yeah, I feel like it'd be like Jack Frost, right? Is it Jack Frost? Or is that the snowman? Robert Frost. The one that writes about the wood and the roads in the wood. I think it's Robert Frost. He might have a poem about beavers. I don't know. But you might use the spoken word and poetry in some way to help you, or this might just be a representation of like your throat chakra really being activated the way a poet is able to turn their creative impulses and their feelings into words that people can really receive. Like a poet can tell you basically, like, you're an ugly sack of shit and you smell bad, but like they're going to do it in a way that makes you be like, I do. I smell like ass. Poets can put it in a way that's different. So this is maybe calling on you to use your devices to word this conversation well. But it needs to be had. A conversation needs to be had with the mother figure. And that is the area of your life that would see the most shift if you focus your energy on it right now. Okay, my dear. Bless. Let me know if that resonated. And thank you so much for trusting me with your question. All right. I see we've got a couple other witches in the stream room. So if you would like your questions answered, please go ahead and drop them down below. If you are on YouTube and you are not going to travel over to the Discord and get into the stream room, that is totally fine. You can also get your question answered tonight with a super chat. Another question coming in. And before I read that one, I will just remind all the witches tuning in on YouTube, this is a special airing of High Tea Live. I go live every full moon to answer questions about magic, witchcraft, divination, spirituality for my coven witches. Now that we are squarely back over on Discord and I don't have to be afraid that people don't know where we are, High Tea will return to being exclusively for the Coven community. So if you want to be a part of these lives and be able to talk about magic once a month with a bunch of witches like you are going to want to join the Coven. That's where the conversations are going down in our brand new, shiny, gorgeously organized Discord server. All right. Okay, so Alex asks, how do I know which new direction to take regarding my job? I feel exhausted with this corporate life. The nepotism is exhausting. I feel like I'm on a treadmill chasing a carrot, never obtaining the goal of promotion. It's always something. Obtain the degree, get the certificate, get the Six Sigma. It's like it's never enough. Okay. All right, so we're on the corporate wheel. Others are being favored, and it feels like promotions are being dangled in front of you, but never actually awarded. And we would like some insight on a new direction with your job. New direction. Okay. All right, my dear. Well, we are definitely at a crossroads, and it is time to depart. It's time to say goodbye. I'm going to move your question just so you can see the cards. And first of all, we have the Nine of Shells in the reverse. This card in the upright is the Arrival card in this deck. And you've reached the maximum of where you're going to be able to go in your current position. That's as far as you're going to be able to go. The reason for feeling like the carrot is being dangled in front of you is because it is. It feels like the people who have the ability to say how far you go at that particular job have already decided that you're not going to go any further, but they're probably wise enough to know that if they make that completely obvious, that you might start looking elsewhere. So they're not coming right out and just saying like, we're never going to move you past where you are. And allowing you to continue to work for it. But the Nine of Pentacles is nine in general is an energy of completion for me. And for me in the reverse, it's a very strong indication that we're no longer on the upward trajectory of the top of the mountain. We have now hit the peak, and now we're either hovering at the peak or it's time to start descending off of this mountain. You've gotten as much out of this as you're going to get from them. So because they pay you well is what I'm feeling with this Nine of Pentacles energy. She is well compensated. She's just not necessarily promoted. So you may be financially taken care of as a result of the job. But if the financial part of it isn't what you desire, if what you really desire is the promotion, a higher a position, more responsibilities, etc., that is not likely to come. You might ask them for more money, and perhaps because they know they're not going to promote you, they will accept giving you more money, so as not to lose you. But in terms of giving you more responsibilities, titles, or pushing you along, it doesn't feel like there's any intention for them to do that. And so knowing that, you have to make some decisions for yourself. You have both the sun and the cross in the reverse, very much an energy of sunset. You know, the sun is setting on this particular job, not necessarily the career path, but this particular job. So interesting how some of these cards, I have to ask Emily about some of it. It might say in the guidebook, but some of her cards are like repeats, but with slightly different aspects. So like there's two women cards. They have the same number, but they have two different types of women on them. And then this card is the sun card, which we just saw. But if you remember, there was a jumping happy figure in it. And this one doesn't have that, but it's still the sun card. It's still happiness. It's still the Ace of Diamonds, but the jumping figure is missing. And that feels really significant, that the job is solid. It just doesn't bring you the joy that you are looking for. And so a different challenge, a different frontier may be where you need to go. The cross card here is about making difficult decisions and does mean that there's a certain level of grief and loss that you might need to handle, accept, tolerate. That you may have come to the end of the road with this particular job, and there's a certain level of like sadness about that because you might have had higher hopes. You might have seen yourself motivated to reach a certain level at this company, and it doesn't feel like it's likely that that's going to happen. And then 3 + 6, here we are with 9 energy again, a completion that has come to be. So I try not to give my own personal advice, like I said before, but I never encourage anybody that has gainful employment to like quit their job or put themselves in a difficult situation financially. So I am not saying that. Make the choices that are smart for you, for your finances, so that you are okay. But just know that promoting you beyond the position that you're at right now is not in the cards for the people who have the decision about that. And so you may need to, if that's what you want from your life, then you might want to start exploring other options. Okay, good. You're so welcome. I'm glad that makes sense. All right, witches, I will take one more if there is one more before we wrap up this very special inaugural kickoff of the Discord High Tea Live. One last time, I'm a broken record, I know, but I am Allie Kravitz. I am the BronxWitch. If you don't know what's going on here, this is High Tea Live. I go live every full moon for magical Q&A. I don't always do readings. But for magical Q&A with my coven witches. And from time to time, I will broadcast that on YouTube so that my YouTube witches know that if they need more personal time, more one-on-one time with an experienced practitioner, then they are going to want to head on over to the coven, become a member, and join us over there. We have a brand spanking new, awesome Discord server for our chats and conversations, but we also have dozens of classes, digital downloads, webinars for your magical education needs. And I'm super excited for everyone to make their way over there. Next month, December, we will have a High Tea Live, and it will be exclusive for the Coven Witches. So if you're watching this on replay and this is something that you want to be a part of, you are going to want to join the Coven so that you don't miss the December full moon live, which will not be aired on YouTube. That's a beautiful message, Takara. It's easy to find a job when you have one, Alex. You are worthy. You are very much worthy. And I agree with that. I agree with that notion 100%. As somebody working in hospitality that had to hire and fire people for many years, I can tell you that as a hiring manager, you can always tell who is desperate for the job versus somebody that is comfortable. And as much as you want to help people, there is something off-putting about desperation energy. There's something far more attractive by energy that has it. And if you're in the magic intensive, then you already, understand that, because we talk about how energy, and this is not like woo-woo magic, this is just science. We know that like attracts like. Okay. So if you are vibrating on a frequency of abundance, of employment, of I'm secure, I'm good, I'm taken care of, you're just going to attract more of that to you. If you are vibrating on a frequency of desperation, you are likely to attract more of that to you. So looking for a new job while you currently have one is definitely a stronger position to go about a task like that. Okay. And now, knowing what you know, hopefully there'll be no like questions or doubt or guilt or confusion about looking elsewhere, because they are not looking to promote or give you any more than they've given you. All right. Do we have any full moon plans, witches? Anyone have any rituals planned for this evening? If those of you who've been with me for a while, you know that back in the day, I used to fast on the new moons, because starting over, detox, new beginnings, and do a spiritual bath on the full moons. And then last year, early this year, when Spirit changed my moon cycle around, it changed that as well. And so now I fast on the full moons and I do a spiritual bath on the new moons. But it seems like my cycle is switching again. So I don't know if that's going to be going back to the way it was with the next moon cycle. But today I fasted and didn't eat until sundown. So that was my full moon ritual. And being that the energy is the beaver, I'm just going to keep doing what I've been doing, which is planning my little beaver den for my hunker down of the next 3 months. All right. So let me go ahead and give a prayer of thanks to dismiss our guides. I want to give honor and thanks to our guides, guardians, angels, demons, ancestors, spirits, all of those powerful, high vibrational energies that walk with us and come to us when called. Thank each of them for the messages that they rendered tonight, messages they've already been trying to send each and every one of you, but that you were finally in a space to be open and receive. So I would pray that you were open and received these messages. And I want to send you all off into the rest of this full moon with lots of love and light. Coven Witches, I will see you all for the next high tea in December. Check the events tab for the stream link and updates on the topic for that. YouTube Witches, if you want to join us in the coven, the link is down in the description, and we would love to see you in the Discord server sometime soon. If you guys have any questions, Alexis is the online portal administrator. You can always send an email to info@bronxwitch.com, or you can leave comments here. I'll make sure that they get over to Alexis if you have any questions or are having any trouble finding the information to join us on Discord. And you are so welcome, Mary's Corner. I appreciate you guys for being here. Thank you again to the witches who have been rocking with me for the last 5 years and all of our many shifts and transitions. It is an honor and a pleasure to be able to be a part of each of your journeys and for you all to be a part of mine. So have a beautiful rest of the night. You missed these. Join the coven, Sabrina. You might already be in there. So just double check. If not, outer court or dedicant will get you access to the Discord because I'd love to see you in the next live. All right. Have a great night, witches. Bye. Blessed be.